From our studio here at Adisawe Kanda in Accra. My name is Martin Asiedu-Dartey. This bulletin is live around the world on 3news.com, and also we are streaming on Facebook and on YouTube, where we hope that you can also be a part of the show and join us with your thoughts and comments as we go through the big stories making headlines in Ghana for you today. Coming up this evening, public safety fears arise as police withdraw from the Tamale Waliwali Bolgatanga highway, and their checkpoints have been abandoned after a deadly attack. Tonight we examine public and officer safety implications. Later in the bulletin, President Mahama vows to make his second term count, saying Ghana's current IMF program will be the last. And the Ghana Journalists Association demands arrest and prosecution of fire service officers who allegedly assaulted a class media group journalist. We have details of all of these stories and more for you for the next 1 hour, including business and sports. Before that, though, let's bring you the news summaries.
Thank you very much, Martin. In a summary tonight, the President, John Dramani Mahama, has announced the construction of a massive 10,000-bed student bed hostel at the University of Ghana to support the country's tertiary education infrastructure. Speaking on Tuesday, January 6, 2026, at the opening of the 77th Annual New Year School and Conference, the President described the project as a critical move to address the chronic accommodation challenges and safety risks faced by students. He revealed that the project stems from a bilateral agreement signed during a recent official visit to Singapore. According to the President, the hostel will utilize prefabricated building technology where components are manufactured in a factory and assembled on site. Still on the President, he has reminded his ministers and public sector appointees that his administration's ban on first-class air travel remains firmly in effect. He has once again vowed to sanction any official found in violation. Also speaking at the 77th Annual New Year School and Conference at the University of Ghana today, the President shared an anecdote to underscore the policy's enforcement and impacts. Away from that, the Ghana Immigration Service has said that it has released one of its officers, Ahmed Abdul Samad, who is alleged to have been involved in the transportation of large quantity of ammunition in the Upper East region to the police for investigation. Now, this was contained in a press release which was dated January 6. Finally, Deputy Minister for Education, Dr. Clement Abbas-Apak, says government's intervention in the recent University of Ghana UG fee hikes was driven by widespread anger from students and parents, which he noted could be ignored. He explained that the Ministry of Education directed the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission, GTEC, to step in and suspend the controversial increases in the interest of the public. According to him, the decision followed mounting complaints over reports of a 25% increase in academic fees at the university. And that'll be it for the news summaries here on 3FM 92.7. These are all on our website. Martin, over to you.
Right, thank you very much. Let's settle for the details of the stories now. We're starting from the issue of security, where in a move that has sparked considerable anxiety, the Ghana Police Service has reportedly withdrawn its personnel from checkpoints and barriers along the crucial Tamale Waliwali and Bolgatanga highway. The decision follows a brutal attack on a police checkpoint at Karimenga on December 28, 2025, during which one police officer was killed and two others sustained serious injuries. Now, the situation is so dire. If you want to have an idea of what we are talking about, just log on to our Facebook page and you can get pictures and videos of what exactly this abandoned checkpoint we are talking about looks like. You can tell that the police barricades usually you'd see at checkpoints have been left there. There is no police officer on site, and this has become quite concerning, especially for those that ply that highway. Now, while the Ghana Police Service has not officially communicated or announced the withdrawal, sources within the Ghana Police Service hierarchy have confirmed that the directive came from Central Command, raising urgent questions about the immediate security implications for these vital transport corridors. The sudden absence of police presence has heightened concerns among transport operators, traders and residents who depend on these highways for business and daily movement. Department. Upper East Regional Correspondent Castro Senyala will be joining us shortly. He visited the Karimenga checkpoint and will join us for a quick conversation on this. But first of all, let's listen to this report that came in earlier. Right, before we bring that, let's speak to Castro Senyala, who is our Upper East Regional Correspondent. Castro, very good evening to you. Thank you for joining us. Happy New Year to you. This is the first time we are communicating this year. Talk to us, first of all, about the security situation when it has to do with the towns that are near this particular checkpoint we are describing. Are they living in fear, or are there any concerns due to the absence of the officers?
Right. Happy New Year, Martin. Yes, there are concerns, and very serious ones for that matter, because the Tamale-Bolgatanga highway is a major highway, as you rightly stated in your script, simply because a lot of people depend on it in terms of moving from one end to the other. That highway serves the northern region, the northeast region, and that of the upper east region. It further connects the northern part of the country to the Sahel region. Talk about Burkina Faso, Mali, and the rest of the Sahel countries up there. And so for the police not to be on that road stretch or the highway goes to tell how residents, drivers, both private and commercial drivers, and truck drivers are all worried about their absence. Now, let me take you down memory lane, because on the 28th of December last year, we woke up to hear that a policeman was brutally shot and killed. We got the information that the police had responded to a distress call of an attack on a bus, and when the police team rushed there, they were able to foil the attack on the bus and took it to the nearest police station. But then we got information that later on, after the police had returned safely back to the Karimenga checkpoint where they initially took off from, the attackers, for whatever reason we are yet to establish, but we security sources say they suspect armed robbers sneaked in behind the policemen and then opened fire at them, leading to the death of one police officer who was due for promotion, in fact, this January. And so because of that, all police checkpoints along that stretch have been, dismantled. If I say dismantled, they've been taken off, removed. All the men have been recalled back to bases, and from now, from Bolgatanga, even from Navrongo all the way to Bolgatanga, through to Walawale, Nasia, to Tamale, all those checkpoints manned by police officers a few weeks ago are empty now. When you pass by, like I did today, the only thing you see the police barricades lying just close to their checkpoints with no police personnel manning them. Previously, you would see at least 5 police officers manning these barriers and shifts during the day, and especially in the night. And on top of that, we also have police visibility and patrol streams going up and down. Now, when we talk about the security situation on that stretch, yes, that stretch is a very peaceful stretch, but in recent times, there have been violent attacks, including what took the life of the police officer. And so now residents, and by extension drivers and travelers in general, are so scared, especially traveling in the night. I spoke to a couple of drivers and then road users today, and they expressed fear that even before, when the police checkpoint was always operational, robbers and the bad, criminals tried to attack drivers or road users on that stretch. So now their concern is that criminals will now have a field day, because there is obviously no one to man these checkpoints, and it's very worrying. Let's take a listen to some of them as they spoke to me earlier today.
Actually, to me personally, the withdrawal of the security on the road is not good. Actually, to me personally, the withdrawal of the security on the road is not good. Because safety is concerned, other security reasons are also concerned, especially within this era. From Christmas season to New Year, the road is always busy, and there are so many things that are happening on the road. In which I believe that when the security are on the road, They will protect the lives and even properties of the people. So the withdrawal of the security, I am not in support.
I'm a driver from Boga to Tamale Road, and the withdrawal of the police officers and our welfare as well. It makes both the passenger and the drivers feel unsafe while applying the road, most especially moving in the night with the people. It even hinders some people from traveling from Tamale or Bonga to Tamale during the evening time. And as the officers were available to give protection and take care of us on the road, we used to work both night and day. And their withdrawal now, people don't like to travel in the night because of bad people, armed robbers, and the criminals on the road as well. So that's what I just have to say. Yeah, it's really affects.
I must say that the withdrawal of the police from the roads is a serious concern for road users. As you may be aware, this is a very hot spot for criminal activities, considering the fact that we are in the festivity period. And you know, usually this is the time the criminals undertake their activities along this road, considering the armed robbery and other forms of attacks. At this juncture, we have to call on duty bearers, Upper East Security Council, to look into this situation. It's a serious worry for all of us. I've been using this route for the past few days, and I have not seen any police barrier that is mounted by the police service. And we think this is something they need to look into. It's a serious concern for all of us.
Right. So, Castro, we've heard the voices of some of the residents in and around where this major checkpoint you are referring to are. But have you been able to get any information from the police hierarchy as a result of what the real next line of action will be now that they've withdrawn their men?
Right, Martin, yes. So I've made some efforts to speak to the police authority in the Upper East region. In fact, today when I went out to the field to gather news, the regional police command was the first place I visited and made a call through to the commander. But he was not available, but has given an indication that once he's available, he'll let me know when I come through. But we get the understanding that several meetings have been held concerning this same issue. And we also understand that the Inspector General of Police was in fact supposed to visit the region, especially to the place where his man was killed. I mean, when I say man, I mean his officer was killed. But we later got to know that, well, other busy schedules have taken away his time and he may not be able to come. But all the same, the police in the region, and in fact the two regions, I understand, are working together assiduously to see how best they can take care of this issue. In the meantime, I have information that police teams, armed police teams, and sometimes the military, patrol the highway, take casual patrols on the highway just to be able to ward off any attack by criminals or people who would have bad intentions to attack travelers on that road, just to be able to give travelers that maximum confidence in the security agencies that they can still provide some protection for them along this major highway.
Castro, thank you so much for your time and effort. Castro Senyala is our Upper East Regional correspondent and has been painting a picture for us about the absence of these police officers in and around the very major highway, which is the Tamale, Waliwali and Bolgatanga highway. So let's find out exactly how the Ghana Police Service and the security apparatus of the country can handle this situation. We're looking at a very long stretch, and the fact that the absence of the police officers as a result of an attack on one of them, leading to the death of one of them, is what we are told is the reason why they have abandoned post, more or less. Dr. Victor Dokey is a security analyst. Dr. Victor Dokey, security consultant and a lecturer at the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Center. Doc, a very happy new year to you. Thank you for joining us on 3FM.
Thank you. Many happy returns, my brother.
Right. What do you make of this report that the police, this is actually one of the first such reports we are hearing that due to an attack, the police service have actually totally abandoned a checkpoint, which is on a very vital road. What do you make of this?
Well, thank you. I think, first of all, with regards to the report, whether formal or informal, I haven't seen anything from the police's, quarters yet to ascertain whether the reason the A or B is actually the cause for them, abandoning the post. But now let's play the what if game. So what if the killing of their personnel is the reason why they abandoned the post? Then it means that, one, they will be given a signal to the criminal elements that a sign of weakness, and then giving the criminal elements the upper hand, which they wouldn't want to. So what if it is not the reason why they abandoned post, and per the reason which they were there before, highway robberies and all of that. Now the robberies have gone down, and then doing an assessment, they realized that there's no need for us to be there again. Because let's look at how many of the men were there before that particular police personnel was killed. So that also would tell us the reason why they had that number of men, and if the risk assessment that was done there, the mandate for which they were there, is yielding positive results, then it means there was no need for them to be there. So these are the two scenarios that we look at. Scenario one, either the criminal elements taking advantage of the situation and then committing this, atrocious act. And then scenario two, looking at the fact that the mandate for which they were there has been achieved, and that there's no need for them to be there. But then there's a cause, which is the killing of the personnel, that, made the whole issue now escalate to say we are withdrawing. So we need to look at these two areas, and then now hopefully we wait for a formal report from the police to know exactly the reason why they withdrew. But other than that, if it is the purpose for which the policeman was killed, then it means that we are giving the criminals a signal that we cannot fight them, which would not be good in the eyes of the citizens.
And how would you advise that the Ghana Police Service balance the issue of immediate safety of its officers and its constitutional duty of protecting lives and property, which is why they were deployed there in the first place? How do they balance this?
Well, in balancing it, I think one, we need to get to understand from their point of view, first of all, which is the mandate that they have. It's something they have to do with regards to giving the citizens a reason why this was done. And I think if that is not forthcoming, then Fourth Estate and some CSOs can now liaise through the Interior Ministry's office to compel them to give a reason why they were there. Now, looking at the security of the personnel themselves, so in a situation such as this, in an area where we knew that it was very volatile with armed, groups, perpetrating criminal activities, what was the preventive measures? Now, we would expect that even if you would have the situation calm down, the numbers of personnel in that area should be beefed up for purposes such as this. When you look at the area itself, it's very dark. So you need more equipment, night visions and all of that equipment that can aid in, performing duties in the night, and then more of patrolling also. So the question about balancing the constitutional duty and then looking at the, the real issues, I think one, the service know what they have to do with regards to what the Constitution demands of them, and it ties to the demands of we the citizens to, get protected. Our properties are protected and our lives are also protected. So that is, non-negotiable. So I think they would have to look at that and then come to the good people of Ghana, and then explain why this incident happened in the first place, and leading to the withdrawal of them from the border. The barriers.
And my final question, Doc, will be: the residents of communities in and around this checkpoint are asking, they themselves are asking for the officers to return, or at least the police take steps to help, protect life and property, especially because they know the type of criminal activities that happen on that highway. In the interim, how can the police give them the assurance that they definitely will be protected? And probably, like you're indicating, we are all yet to get the fine details of what exactly must have been the reason for the withdrawal. Maybe they'll come back stronger with a different strategy. But in the interim, what message should the police give to residents or people that ply this highway?
I think this message will come to the regional command, as Castro explained, getting to know firsthand of what happened to the commander. And that is the first step. The regional command will have to assure the people in that enclave that they are still, very much protected and nothing is going to go wrong. Aside that, too, we can look at how the community elders can also be focal or persons or liaisons, and then, visiting the regional command to also express their worry and concern. But by and large, you would understand why the citizens in those areas have now been, they feel very protected and safe when the police was there because of what happened before, and are very worried now that they have exited the place. So I think we need to consult. Stakeholders need to come together. The police is there for us. So, and as much as they are there for us, citizens should also know that they have an obligation to, act in a way that will protect the personnel that are protecting us. So volunteering information, in every way you can. So whoever has information with regards to what happened to the police personnel should volunteer information. And this is one of the, ways that we can apprehend the criminals early enough for the police to now be assured that, their lives are not at stake, because they're also human beings. Whatever it is, yes, they have a constitutional mandate, but that doesn't mean that we should just sit and watch. So everybody has a role to play now.
Right. Dr. Victor Doke, thank you so much for your time and thoughts this evening. And you heard the voice and thoughts of Dr. Victor Doke, who is a security consultant and a lecturer at the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping and Training Center. This is still Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7, live from our studio here at Adesanwe Kanda in Accra. We are shifting our attention to some other stories, this time around on the Ghanaian economy. President John Dramani Mahama says that he has decided to make his second mandate graciously granted to him by Ghanaians count. According to the president, he has pledged to raise the level of governance to a level where no government can reverse it. According to him, this will be the 17th and last time that Ghana will be going to the IMF for a bailout. He also said government will not relax the current fiscal discipline and efficient management of the economy, even in the election year of 2028. The president was speaking at the opening of the 77th annual New Year School and Conference, which was held at the University of Ghana earlier today. Let's listen to the president, then we can pick some thoughts on what exactly he's been saying.
I've decided to make this second mandate so graciously granted to me by Ghanaians count. I've pledged, you can clap if you want. I'll take that again. This is why I've decided to make this second mandate so graciously granted to me by Ghanaians count. I've pledged to raise our economy and governance to a level that no succeeding government can reverse. In a region where democracy is backsliding, we must demonstrate that democracy works and that our people can have faith in their leaders to uphold their interests and create opportunities for national prosperity. I can assure Ghanaians also that we will not relax the current fiscal discipline and efficient management of the economy, even in the election year of 2028. Madam Chairperson, I have just 5 short pillars in which I discuss the theme for this occasion.
So those are the exact words of the president, and we've been joined by Professor Patrick Asuming, who is an economist and also a lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School. Prof, a very good evening to you. Thank you for joining us on 3FM.
Good evening to you. Good evening to listeners. Thanks for having me.
Right. The president is, giving us a reassurance that this will be our last, and when we exit this current IMF program, it will be our last and final time we are going. And his confidence is based on the current performance, which is barely a year's performance under his administration. Are you confident, based on what the president has said and what you have seen? Do you have this confidence that the words of the president will, we should take its weight in gold?
Well, I think, first of all, it's great to hear the president say with such conviction that he is going to do what is on his part to ensure that we do not return to the IMF. We have to understand that it's partly dependent on him, but it's also partly dependent on who will succeed him. He can do his part to ensure that the right measures that we need to put in place are put in place. That you can grant him. But, it's such a bold prediction to say that we don't go to the IMF. I hope that that's the case. I hope that we have done the right things. But you have to look at what we have been doing. You can't measure what will happen in the next 5 or so years purely based on the performance under the current program. There are two things that have to happen. Part of that has to do with reforms to ensure that the structural reforms on economic governance, to ensure that whatever fiscal discipline that we are currently enjoying are sustained. But more importantly, restructuring the economy to ensure that it's more productive and we are more diversified and our export base is broader and we are less susceptible to external shocks. Those are the two things that I feel have to happen before whatever we are doing becomes sustainable.
And picking up from the last point you make about ensuring that we cushion ourselves in ways that external shocks will not, impact us much. Based on the kinds of policies that you've heard from this current administration and what they intend to roll out, do you see key things that are going to be like the main pillars on which we can stand to say that irrespective of whatever global shocks, which most often would either be health related or oil and gas or gold related, do you see that we are gradually putting in those buffers?
So we should start with the economic governance reforms. As part of the current IMF measures, a lot of these are ongoing. We've seen some reforms to our procurement laws. We've seen some reforms to public financial management, including the introduction of the more independent fiscal council. We've seen other areas where we are strengthening expenditure controls to prevent institutions from committing the government. Those laws are being passed. Now, on paper, you think that will work, but we have been here before. Well, maybe not exactly. Ghana has a history of passing very fine laws, which we don't plan to implement. So I think it's the execution and implementation where the challenge will be. In terms of the structure of the economy part, if you look at the 24-hour economy document that is the thrust of the government's economic policy. Mm-hmm. On paper, you have to say that, it contains some of the key elements that will help turn the economy around in terms of productivity and diversification. The caution, though, is that we have seen similar documents before. again, it comes to execution and implementation. So I think you have to say yes. In terms of what is on paper, it sounds great, but you still have to take a wait and see attitude, because we have seen that so many times where you put in place fine-sounding policies. Things that you think, oh, this is going to be transformational. But the implementation has been problematic. So I think the president should tell us what will be different with the execution of these ones.
Right.
Admittedly, because he's been in power before and gone and come back, that experience, presumably can change him and make him, wiser in terms of the implementation. But we still have to wait and see.
Right. Well, that's a good point to land on. And maybe my final submission will still be on the bit where you say we pass laws as a country, but then implementation is always the big challenge. He is saying that he is hopeful, and very much so, that this will be the last time because of some of the policy interventions that the current administration is putting in place. He will be exiting by 2029. And so whoever is coming might also have a different blueprint or a different mindset, different policies. Do we have enough laws to, ensure that everybody stays within the expected limit, where if civil society economists like yourself are ringing alarm bells that these decisions or these actions would lead us back to the IMF, these laws can then immediately be triggered to hold duty bearers accountable? Do we have that already in place? And is this something you will be expecting that the current president would maybe come out to tell us that these are the key specifics we are putting in place to ensure that we do not return?
You have to say we have some of them in place, but we don't have everything in place. A part of the problem is even outside the economic governance framework. Just the political governance, political party financing, and also, even being able to put in place a long-term strategy that is binding. We don't have that. But you have to say some of the reforms that have been suggested by the Constitutional Review hold promise.
Okay.
One area is, curtailing the powers of the president in terms of the president appointing almost every independent or the head of every independent institution. Even though those institutions are supposed to be independent in name, we've seen that sometimes they become kind of beholden to the president. So if we manage to reform such that maybe the appointment of certain independent institutions become a little bit more professional and insulated from the political process, maybe that will help us. But, the Constitutional Review Committee has just done their report. The president has signaled that he will plan to implement them. Let's see if he does.
All right, Prof, thank you so much for your time this evening. And we had Professor Patrick Esuming, who is an economist and a lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School, and clearly has expressed a number of key pointers that I'm sure all of us are interested and are hopeful to see that this government rolls out, so that, like the president is promising, we do not as a country return with a cup in hand to the IMF for another bailout. That will be a travesty, that will be shameful, and hopefully we can be disciplined enough, irrespective of who is in power or which government or administration is in power. Ghana as a country will do well to be independent and not return for another bailout. You're still listening to 3FM 92.7. This is Hot Edition. Staying on issues of the economy, the Bank of Ghana, in a related development, is set to hold a policy workshop with experts and then market practitioners and policymakers to review and adjust the domestic gold purchase program. Governor Dr. Johnson Esiama, who disclosed this in an address at the 77th Annual New Year School, said that the review, to be conducted in collaboration with the Ghana Gold Board and the Ministry of Finance, aims to improve and sustain the program as Ghana moves beyond the stabilization phase of its economic reform. The program was introduced when foreign exchange reserves were low and confidence in the economy was weak, with the goal of strengthening reserves, stabilizing the cedi, and supporting macroeconomic recovery. While it contributed to improved stability, the central bank absorbed significant financial costs in the national interest. Gold Board has in recent days been under intense scrutiny over accusations that it had incurred losses amounting to some $214 million under the Gold for Reserve program. Let's listen to Dr. Johnson Esiama, the governor of the Bank of Ghana.
I want to address this issue, which has featured prominently in recent national discourse. The conversation matters not because it is controversial, but because it speaks directly to how Ghana manages strategic national priorities at moments of stress and transition. The Gold Board is no longer a concept, it is operational. It is embedded within our macroeconomic framework and has reshaped how Ghana captures value from its gold resources while strengthening external buffers. The relevant question is therefore not whether Gold Board should exist, but how it should be governed, how it should be refined, how it should be sustained, and to do so in the national interest. As you will remember, the domestic gold purchase program was introduced at a moment of acute vulnerability, and this was when foreign exchange buffers became thin and confidence was fragile. Its purpose was clear, and this was to strengthen reserves, stabilize the currency, and create space for macroeconomic recovery by leveraging Ghana's own natural endowment. So, judged against this stabilization objective, the program has played a vital role. Governance, transparency, and risk management were strengthened, particularly within the artisanal and small-scale gold trading segment. Settlement risks were reduced through payment before release requirements and ring-fencing of offtake proceeds. Pricing structures were improved through reductions in discounts, agent fees, and assay charges. Arguably, the institutional role of Gold Board has strengthened coordination across the value chain, while the introduction of a gold FX auction mechanism has enabled more structured and transparent intermediation of gold-related foreign exchange flows. So looking ahead in 2026, Your Excellency, the G4R program must be anchored more firmly within the broader Government of Ghana framework as a national priority. And responsibility will be shared in such a way that sustainability does not rest on any single institution. We encourage informed debates, we encourage evidence-based analysis, and we encourage diverse perspectives on such critical programs such as the DGPP. And in that spirit, the Bank of Ghana, working with the Gold Board and the Ministry of Finance, we intend to convene a focused policy workshop with experts, with market practitioners, and policymakers to examine how this national priority can be refined further in line with best practices elsewhere.
And you heard the voice of the governor of the Bank of Ghana, who was speaking at the 77th Annual New Year School, Dr. Johnson Esiama. Well, we are shifting our attention to other stories this evening, and the IGP, the Inspector General of Police, has lauded the Asantehene Otumfuo II when he paid a visit to him at the police headquarters here in Accra earlier today. The visit, which was at the invitation of the IGP, was to foster closer collaboration between the security agencies and the traditional authorities. The IGP lauded the Asantehene when he paid a visit to him and said that the visit, and citing Otumfuo's mediation effort in the Dagbon chieftaincy dispute, the IGP said that the King Solomon of our time has taken actions and decisions which are inured to the benefit of the Ghanaian people.
Ladies and gentlemen, As the revered occupant of the Golden Stool, you have not only preserved these values, but also modernized and strengthened them. Your consistent support for the Ghana Police Service, especially in the Ashanti region, has been both fatherly and exemplary. I recall that you have hosted several Inspectors General of Police and police leadership over the years, offering counsel, guidance, and encouragement, with doors always open to us. Ladies and gentlemen, as the Chief Constable of this country, I must commend Your Majesty and highlight your role in peace building and conflict resolution, which has had a profound impact on national security. Mentioning your exceptional mediation skills, which have restored peace in numerous conflicts across our nation, compels me to describe you as the King Solomon of our time. Your wisdom, patience, and moral authority have brought calm where tension once prevailed, and unity where division once threatened our peace. Specifically, you chair the Committee of Eminent Chiefs that successfully resolved the long-standing Dagbon chieftaincy crisis, restoring peace and stability to the area. Your mediation efforts in Yendi, and more recently in the protracted Boko conflict, to mention a few, have yielded practical recommendations that continue to guide security operations. Today, the relative calm in Boko has significantly enhanced policing efforts and community confidence. It is worth noting that chiefs, as custodians of land, culture, and customs, remain indispensable partners in maintaining law and order. In this regard, Your Majesty, you have personally intervened in numerous land and chieftaincy disputes in the Ashanti region, restoring sanity, reducing violence, and making policing more effective. These actions reaffirm the constitutional recognition of chieftaincy under the 1992 Constitution, which recognizes traditional authority as an integral part of Ghana's governance system. In the context of illegal mining, your directive urging chiefs to take firm action against it in their jurisdictions demonstrate the continued relevance of traditional leadership in addressing modern security challenges, and this is emulating.
And that's the voice of the IGP, Christian Tete Yehunu, and the Asantehene himself, who spoke at the event, when he visited the IGP, commended the Inspector General of Police for exemplary leadership. He described the visit not only as ceremonial, but as an opportunity to foster closer collaboration between the security agency and traditional authorities.
Rulers. From the first Ghanaian who took over the mantle of leadership from the departing colonial commander, the highly distinguished Erasmus Ransford Teria Magite, to the energetic leadership assembled here. So, today, the police service has gone through many challenging epochs. Changing political circumstances have impacted on the service in different ways. But it is fair to say that through it all, the service has maintained a level of commitment and professionalism we should be proud of. So, whenever and wherever you have been called upon to undertake international duties, you have acquitted yourselves with full credit. So, the greatest pride of Ghanaians today is that our nation is recognized in the world as an oasis of peace in an environment of turbulence. So, the international community widely acclaims us for the safety in our streets. If we take pride in our climate of peace and accept the plaudits of the world for the safety in our streets, we cannot fail to acknowledge the crucial role of the frontline protectors of our peace and security. So, when we snuggle in our comfortable beds at night, we cannot forget that there are thousands of our sons and daughters battling with mosquitoes, while dutifully protecting us from the snares of criminal minds. And while we trudge along our motorways, whether in our shining limousines or the humble trotro or aboboya and praja, we cannot forget that there are again thousands of our sons and daughters keeping guard in the most inhospitable spots just to make sure we arrive safely at our destinations. The truth is not in us if we fail to acknowledge that we owe a huge debt of gratitude to the blue uniform for the safety.
And that's Asantehene Otumfuo Seitu II. It was quite a momentous visitation to the premises of the Ghana Police Service when the Otumfuo went there. This is the first such visit, and it was very colorful and well coordinated as well. Let's turn our attention to issues of journalism and how the issues of journalist safety has come up again for conversation. The Ghana Journalists Association, GJA, has called on the Inspector General of Police, Christian Teteyehunu, to ensure the immediate arrest and prosecution of all personnel involved in the alleged assault on a Class Media Group journalist. Speaking at a press conference on Tuesday, the 6th of January, Mr. Junfor said that the internal disciplinary measures alone are insufficient, noting that the incident constitutes a criminal matter that must be tested in the court of law to serve as a deterrent. Reports indicate that Samuel Ado, a journalist with Class Media Group, was assaulted by fire service officers who allegedly tried to prevent him from filming a fire scene on Monday, January 5, at the Kaswa New Market in the Central Region. A video circulating online shows Samuel Ado, the journalist, being manhandled amid a chaotic scene with some personnel shouting at him. Here is the GJA President, Albert Junfor, who spoke earlier at the press conference.
While the GJA entered this year with hope and prayers for an attack-free year for journalists, it is deeply disappointed and upsetting that the first reported assault against a journalist in the year 2026, in the year of our Lord 2026, has allegedly been perpetrated by men in uniform, and now the wheels of attack has been shifted over to the Ghana National Fire Service. Attack on Class FM journalists at Kaswa. GJA demands arrest and prosecution of perpetrators. The Ghana Journalists Association condemns in the strongest possible terms the brutal, unlawful and reprehensible attack on Class FM journalist Mr. Samuel Ado, allegedly perpetrated by personnel of the Ghana National Fire Service during a fire outbreak at the Kaswa Market in the Central Region on Sunday, January 4, 2026. Mr. Ado was lawfully carrying out his professional duties, reporting on the incident which is of major public interest when he was reportedly assaulted by officers who should have known better. We also saw the viral video where the journalists and some civilians were being attacked callously with helmets. This attack is not only an assault on an individual journalist, but a direct attack on media freedom, and for that matter, direct attack on the leadership of the GJA. The GJA is appalled and deeply concerned by the wobbling, weak, and wholly unacceptable defense put forward by the Ghana National Fire Service through its public relations officer, DO2 Desmond Aka. The claims that the officer did not assault the journalist but merely seized his phone because he was recording an altercation without permission is untenable, misleading and offensive toward basic intelligence. No officer of the Ghana National Fire Service has the authority to confiscate a journalist's equipment, obstruct coverage, or demand permission for lawful journalistic work at a public emergency scene. This explanation not only fails to address the serious allegations of assault, but also betrays a disturbing ignorance of press freedom and the law.
And that's the GJA president there, Albert Junfor, who has been condemning the attack in the viral video of a journalist, and he's asking the IGP to immediately arrest the perpetrators who are said to be personnel of the Ghana National Fire Service. So we'll see what the next line of action will be from the fire service themselves, who have said that they have initiated an internal investigation and that they will ensure that whoever broke the law or is found to have fallen foul be dealt with accordingly. And the GJA earlier, like you heard in our headline a moment ago, is also throwing a caution to the New Patriotic Party, the opposition party, that ahead of their January 31 National Congress, where there will be national primaries, I should say, for presidential candidates, he is asking that they be cautious when it comes to how they deal with journalists, cautioning that they should ensure that journalists are allowed to give coverage to the primaries without any such unfortunate reports of attacks. So we'll update you on what the next action would be from GJA's position, from the Ghana Fire Services position, as we all wait to see whether or not this case will go any further from now. This is 3FM 92.7. We are live around the world on 3news.com. I'm sure many of you are also watching us on Facebook and on YouTube, where we are streaming this bulletin. Your messages are always welcome. Since it's a new year, do let us engage more. Let us hear from you, because your thoughts are as important as the stories we bring to you on a daily basis. So do let them come in, and we'll be happy to share it with the rest of the world. Before we bring you business and sports, the festive season may only have just ended, quickly giving way to a different kind of reality. With schools reopening, families are now confronted with cost, all landing at once in what is already considered the toughest financial month of the year. Grace Hamwajiman has more in this report.
Barely weeks after the Christmas festivities, Ghanaian households are being jolted back into another season, back to school. Millions of students across the country are preparing for another term, with some already back in school. For students, it is a good way to begin the new year.
I'm wearing it, Gary, Kivo, and them things. So I'm happy to go back to school.
Milo, biscuit, drink. I'm excited to go back to school to go and learn, continue my education, then get more time for study.
But behind these excited students are parents who are feeling the pinch. From uniforms and books to transport and feeding costs, parents say the financial pressure this January has been intense.
It's very, very difficult. Because of that, the Christmas, you can't eat it well. We can't enjoy it because the children are going to school. So you have to keep your money and buy their provisions and other things. So that's why it's very difficult for me, the parents.
40-year-old single mother, Patience, has come to the New Plan Station to see her child off to school. Patience tells me she had to cut down on her Christmas expenditure to make up for the school expenses.
I'm a single mother. I never paid from 14 years. And therefore, Mammy Crabet, Yanko Roma.
I lost my husband 14 years ago, and it's not been easy with the kids. So I save a lot in order to raise the funds I will need.
For other parents, planning is key in order to survive the financial burden.
All the hands are not the same, and people have various types of business that actually predetermines our income. So if you know your strength and you know your responsibility, so for you to plan and plan well, you need to take measures.
Parents should learn to live within their means and not be swayed by trends that are costly.
Financial analysts advise that parents monitor the education structure and make provisions to prevent hardships.
You audit the bill, so look at the bill. Which of these items on the bill can I postpone in terms of paying for like the extra classes, certain levies that you can actually postpone, then be able to manage the cost relating to that. So I think that it's more of communication and planning. But there are some parents that perhaps also have access to some soft loans from their companies or some banks that they are doing business with. If that opportunity is there, you can also take it at least to cushion you for the next 2 to 3 months, whilst you plan to stabilize yourself over a period of time.
The Ghana Tertiary Education Commission, GTEC, as part of measures to prevent students and parents from feeling educational hardship, has instructed the University of Ghana to reduce school fees announced for the term. From jingle bells to school bells, January has definitely become a month of tough financial choices for many Ghanaian households. The cash is proper planning, with the hope that the investments made today will secure the future of the next generation.
And that's a report by Grace Hamwa Ajiman. And that's it for the package. Thank you for listening. If you visit our website, 3news.com, you'll get details of all these stories we've brought to you and many, many more. My name is Martin Asiedu-Dartey. This has been Hot Edition. Have a good evening.